welcome to the Mansplaining Show with Jake and Dave. You probably didn't hear any music that went through there, so that's really interesting.
No.
That's one of those things. See, now I got to go freaking check and see if the audio is coming through on this thing. One moment, guys. Yep, it is. All right, great. Because there's been times when the audio didn't come through at all. We went through a whole episode, and I'm like, man, nobody's paying attention. And then I go back to listen to it, and all I hear is, like, whoops.
Yeah.
But the Mansplaining Show with Jake and Dave. This is the show for guys, bad dudes. This is where two older guys try to give advice to the 22-year-old versions of themselves, and they're not going to listen either. But that's what the show's about. And a little bit of background. Jake and I are both stand-up comics, met in the Denver area. Jake is now in Phoenix. I'm still in Denver. Taking a trip to Austin at the end of January, so I'm really, really psyched about that. And I really need to hit up some open mics before I do that. But I don't know. I've been feeling like I've been getting to a point of diminishing returns when it comes to open mics. I don't know if I'm not nearly as patient anymore, which is a bad place to be in because it's like, how the fuck are you going to work out new material if you don't do it? But yeah, it is. It's a bizarre situation that like, well, I haven't been practicing so much. Now let me go and try to make some new contacts in a new city so I could try to get more work with some shit that I've been working on. But yeah, that's what's going on with me, man. How's everything in Phoenix?
It's not bad. I mean, been working a lot, so that's one thing. And I'm starting to kind of like do like jobs where I'm going to people's houses and shit. And man, I tell you, there's a lot of money in this fucking city. I didn't even know it. I didn't really realize it until I moved here.
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot of rich people here. It blows my mind how many there are. Like there were some in Denver, obviously. Like there were, you gotta run into those people, Cherry Creek, all that shit.
Yeah.
But man, holy shit! Like I see like high level sports cars, like on the regular, like everywhere. It's fucking wild. Like I don't know. I just didn't. I knew that. I mean, it's a big city. You're gonna run into rich fucks somewhere, obviously. But like, gee, like the amount of like, it's just nuts. There's a lot of money coming through this shit.
It's weird. There's certain parts of town, like anything above Camelback, like near Camelback Mountain, both on the north and south of it. There's no poor people that live anywhere near that thing. It's all freaking fancy, big, huge mansions and shit. But it's weird. Like you go around Camelback and head up north towards Paradise Valley, and you go from super, super fucking wealthy to white trash real quick. It's really weird. It's kind of like there's these pockets of Phoenix that are still that the folks just never moved, but the property value like rose around them. It was just kind of weird. So you're like, huh? How come no? It's like, man, these places are really nice. Hey, how come there's a bunch of trash in that dude's yard? Like. There was this one house I remember because I would see it pretty clearly when I was a bus driver for the Tempe Unified High School District. And this guy just liked having a lot of shit in his front yard. I don't know. It looked like junk to me. It looked like cars and stuff. And he had to put up a sign that said, "This is not a yard sale. Please do not come on my property." People kept driving by and thinking, I'm like, oh, is this guy selling that? And he's like, no, just what the fuck? He just like having a lot of shit on his yard. It was weird.
No, you see that? I mean, I have family and stuff that have like 15 cars in their front yard, and they're all half worked on and shit So, but yeah, they're like kind of hoarders in a weird way.
Yeah, kind of. I mean? They get in love with the potential of something rather than the actual accomplishment of it. Like having a fucking a Dodge Charger that just all it needs is a new transmission, man, but that it stays that way for the longest time and just continues to deteriorate on the inside. Until finally they get it working and find out there's 5 other problems they need to work on with it. And they're like, oh, man. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, you could have found this out a long time ago had you just kept shit, fucking kept working on your shit instead of just falling in love with what this thing could have been. But, yeah. It's bizarre. Gosh, I just realized what the fuck we were talking. Oh, yeah, talking about all the rich people in Arizona. It's weird. There's rich and then there's like Arizona rich, Like I've seen people's houses when they're like oil people. You can even find some dudes who like North Dakota, South Dakota, but they've got millions in the bank because they got some serious freaking cash. And then there's other folks. It sounds pretty shitty to say this, but they might make $100,000 a year, which is pretty good. It's fucking very good. But they try to act like they're millionaires or billionaires. So you get a lot of that in Arizona, where they're like, fucking, I don't know. I've had some people try, talk down to me like I was less than nothing when I was waiting tables and stuff out there when I was a cabbie. It's all crazy, weird shit.
Yeah. There's a bunch of kind of like I've noticed that around here because I went out to eat at Texas Steakhouse or what the fuck that place is called. The chain restaurant one. What the fuck's it called? The
Texas Roadhouse. Texas
Roadhouse. And I went there and it was all right. It wasn't bad or nothing, but you could look around and you could see it was like a bunch of Karens and shit.
Yeah.
Because it's where I'm at in Glendale. It's oddly suburban. So you run into that.
That's a lot of Glendale.
Here's the thing. I don't think I'm a fan of suburbia. If I make good money doing this shit, I don't think I could live in one of these HOA neighborhoods. I don't think I could do it.
Dude, I
don't have the patience for it.
HOAs in Arizona are fucking crazy because there's nobody regulating HOAs. So you can run into a place where they're like, hey, you need to cut your grass now or we're fining you. Hey, and they'll get really weird. Like, hey, you got too much stuff in your window. You need to take that down. They get really, they'll get really freaking totalitarian on the people that live there. It's also, I think Arizona or Phoenix spawned the whole Karen haircut. Spiky in the back with the fade in the front, because you see a lot of those around.
Oh yeah, because I've been on Tinder and shit. I don't know, just might as well.
Yeah, right.
And I run into that shit all the time because my age range is between I think 29 to 45 is what I'm looking at. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And I run into these late 30, early 40s chicks with the fucking that shit. And I'm like, it's them and anybody who overly fucking talks about how they're vaccinated.
Yeah.
Fucking see ya. Swipe left. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, dude. I see that some of the sites that Jenny and I go on with the folks with her wearing their mask, and I'm like,
yeah.
What are you here for, you moron? But yeah, that one's pretty funny. When I went to go try to pick up, by the way, guys, it's some personal information about me. I finally got a prescription, or I'm going to be prescribed probably tomorrow and be put on testosterone replacement therapy. So I'll definitely be keeping you guys posted on that. And I promise not to show my dick on this show. That's the promise you're going to get from me. But apparently, Walgreens and stuff, they're doing booster shots and stuff. And I don't know if those places are set up for it or staffed for it, man, because there was a lot of people there waiting to get boosters and everything. And this isn't an anti-vax show, but it is kind of an anti-authoritarian show in a certain respect. Yep. And I don't like people telling and trying to scare people into behaving or doing particular things. I didn't like it during the Iraq War, and I don't like it now. Hold on 1 second. Crap. Hold on. Jenny was texting me. Any ideas for dinner? You go? Oh shit. Yeah, she texted me like a half hour ago. Oh fuck it, I didn't even answer. It's like, all right, hold on 1 second. Sorry, recording.
No, I'm fucking beat my horn again. That's what you get for doing a show from the Kia studio.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I can't wait. I can't wait to get my own fucking place, man. I've been looking, and I've been able to find some shit that's in my price range. So, and my job is paying me well. So I think within the next month or two, I should be really in the hunt for a new place, my own place.
Absolutely, man.
Which I can't wait for, man, because I would love to be doing this inside of a living room of my own place with a webcam and all that shit, and not have to fucking do this shit from my. I mean, it's not like I don't know. I tried doing it from the room I'm sleeping in. I don't want to call it my bedroom because it's not my bedroom.
Yeah.
It's just a place I'm sleeping.
Yeah, there's too many My Little Ponies in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a plastic kitchenette in there, which is hilarious. I took a photo of it and I did the old Mitch Hedberg line.
Yeah.
Where I was like, "Fuck you, real estate lady. This bedroom has an oven in it."
Yeah. Exactly.
That old joke.
Yeah.
but yeah. I mean, it's not. It's not my bedroom.
Fair.
But There's a few stipulations that I have to do before I get a new place. One, I have to buy a nice bed. I've never owned a nice bed. Like not since I've been single.
Yeah.
Since I got divorced. Like when I was married, me and my ex-wife had like splurged on like a very nice queen mattress, and it was the shit.
Yeah.
Oh God, it was so good. Sleeping on that fucking thing was so great. And then after my divorce, I basically was just sleeping on garbage.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just sleeping on bullshit. And then I moved here, and I had like futons and shit like that. And I remember at one point I just had a fucking mattress on the ground, which is hilarious.
Right.
Which what's funny is when I had the mattress on the ground,
right.
I got laid more than when I didn't have that.
Like, ooh, he's artsy.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, right, yeah. I bring girls to my apartment or my place that I was living at the time, and it would be a fucking mattress on the ground, and they'd still fuck me, which is fucking bad.
You're like, you sure?
Yeah, like,
okay.
They didn't say shit about it. They were like, oh, look at this go mattress on the ground. They could have. I mean, I wouldn't have blamed them. It's kind of a shitty thing to look at.
So listen, before I take you home, I'm just gonna let you know my mattress is on the ground. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's no feet on it and stuff, but I mean, it wasn't. But like, I want a nice bed. I just want a bed that's not bad. That's good. Like a mattress, like with a nice mattress with like a bed frame that's not. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Something that you know what I'm saying? Like. I don't know, it's a very fucking weird bar to set, but I need to get that first.
Yeah.
You know? So the other shit will fall in line. Like I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean I can make it work. I can like a couch or some shit. I'll find something. Like, I don't give a shit about that. You know, like I got a dresser already. I got a fucking other stupid shit. So whatever. But I need that first.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
Well, so now that you've got a chance to know Phoenix a little bit, where are you thinking about? You want to, what kind of, ideally, where would you want to be? So still somewhere close to your brother, or are you thinking still close to work, basically, or?
Well, my brother is pretty close to my work. I just drive down Deer Valley until I hit, what is that? The Cave Creek Road.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm right there. I'm at the corner. I'm like right near the 101. And Cave Creek. In fact, when you pull out of where I work at, the road I have to get on to leave my shop is one of those roads that's like there's a road and then there's a giant brick wall and then there's 101. You know what I mean? It's right near the highway. So as long as I can either, I just don't like fucking with the highway, man. So like if I can like find something where I can just take Deer Valley or Cave Creek, then again, Cave Creek, man, that shit's expensive. So
yeah,
you know.
No, tell me about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I'm just trying to find a place. I'm just trying to see if like what's available and shit's kind of dropping right now. Like everyone's freaking me out. They're like, man, it's gonna cost like $1,200, and I'm looking around these places and I'm like, no, like I'm finding. Granted, they're dog shit, but I'm finding one bedrooms for like $700.
Yeah, no, you could definitely find something like you're right. There'll be dog shit, but you could find a cheap place to live in Phoenix. As long as you do things like, this is what I always say, man, don't have it so that way somebody could look inside your apartment and see how much shit you have.
Yeah.
Like all of my video games and stuff like that, you couldn't see if you looked inside of my window. It's always like right underneath it and stuff. I would do shit like that. But, you know, that's just me. But
yeah,
what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think here because I'm looking at the map here. Cave Creek, where the fuck is that? Oh, I see where it is. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Cave Creek is one of those roads, and normally most of the roads that run run north and south are numbered, like 16th Street, 16th Avenue, all that other stuff. I'm like, Cave Creek. But that's really close to, there's a comedy club near there, I think, isn't there? No,
really?
Wait a second. It is this year before the 51. If you go like just a few minutes farther down, there's like this kind of mall on the north side or like a shopping center, like a high-end foo-foo kind of eatery type place. It's on the north side of it. I think that it's like close to the Mayo Clinic now that I think about it. Either way, oh, there it is. You'd have to get off on Tatum Boulevard. It's on the north side of there, but yeah, there's like AZ House of Comedy or something is up there.
Huh.
Yeah, so there's one that's not too far from you, man. Because especially, it's weird. Like, oh, Drew just chimed in, by the way.
Oh, hey, what's up, Drew?
Hey, what's up, Drew? He says it's very cold there, and he's in Montana, so,
Well, yeah.
yeah, I can imagine that. What's the temperature out there, Drew? Because I think it's only in the 30s. I might have gotten to the 20s down here in Denver, but in Phoenix, it's been remarkably cold and dreary for the past couple of days, is what Jake's telling me.
Yeah, and not what I thought it would be.
Yeah. But yet, it was way warmer out here in Denver than it ever has been, and he left here so he can get away from the cold. It's kind of ironic.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I mean, as long as it's like, I think the only weather I can't stand like at all. Like, I just got tired of snow. I don't hate it. I just got tired of it.
Right.
The weather I can't stand is I can't stand when it's like in the low 40s and it's fucking raining like crazy. Like a Seattle type of thing. I can't. I hate it.
Wow.
Because that's the kind of shit I would run into like in the fall or like the early spring, where you know what I'm saying, where like it would get warm enough to where it wasn't snow anymore, but it was rain.
Yeah.
That shit for some reason, man, just cuts right through me. Man, like when I get wet and it's cold, dude, I'm fucking miserable. And that's like, that's a fucking like the number one place that kind of shit is like the upper northwest and parts of like New England and shit. You know what I mean?
My favorite was when it gets to the springtime, and it would rain for a little bit, then it would snow, and so like you have this moisture underneath the snow on your car, and if somebody decides that they don't need to brush off the snow off of their car, and then they hit that first stop sign, and then all the snow from the roof just goes to their windshield, and they're like, oh man, now they got to get out. Everybody's like, what a fucker.
Oh no, we used to when I used to move furniture for a living, our 26-foot box trucks.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of shit would happen, and we would what would happen is we'd be like driving on the road. We would make it like a left-hand turn or a right-hand turn, and all that shit on top of the box would slide and like land in a car next to us. It was fucking hilarious.
Oh, Drew's asking how the comedy's going in Phoenix, so you haven't hit anything up just yet. So, well,
no, I haven't.
It's kind of weird, man. I'm waiting. Like I got a show tomorrow at the Raíces Brewery, so it's a Puerto Rican brewery. So I'm very excited because I get to do a lot of my Mexican jokes. But for the most part, man, I've been so focused on work, that to the point now I focus so much on work, it's really starting to depress the shit out of me. So like, I'm like, I either need to get more money out of this or I need to stop focusing so much on work, and so first let's try to get some more money out of this. And then if that doesn't work, then we don't focus so much.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like that's the thing with me. Like I want this, because this job I have right now, I can make good money at in the very near future.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're talking, I can be making $100K
right
next year. Like I wouldn't doubt if I play my cards right by the time I have to file my taxes next year. Oh yeah, I'll be making like 80, 90K, which is fucking insane.
Right.
I never made that kind of money in my life. And the way I'm looking at it too is like it'll allow me to clean up a lot of my shit. It'll also allow me to save money. And then also if I wait a few years, 2-3 years or something like that, I can have enough money to where I can basically kind of quasi-retire and just do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah,
I can stay with what I'm doing, or I could just be like, okay, well, I got $70 grand in the bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have all my bills paid. I don't really need anything. I can just fucking do whatever I want, And I got a trade to fall back on because I'll know how to do this. So if I need money,
right,
I can just do that or something. And then just go back and just doing stand up all the time and just traveling. Because I'll have the money to do it, but I don't, you know what I'm saying? But that's kind of like the goal in a weird way, So, because I'll talk to guys at work and they're like, yeah, like man, I mean, I made like 90, like I made almost 100 last year, and all I really did was like clean some stuff and this and that, and nothing too crazy. But like, there's other guys. I mean, but the thing is, like a lot of those guys, like they make the kind of money. And a lot of their stuff, like they get new cars, they get new houses, they get do this, they get do that.
Right.
And the way I see it is if I can just bank that money instead, and then after a while I'll have enough to just live off of. Because I don't really need a lot to live off of.
Yeah.
It's just my bills are kicking my ass right now. You know.
Yeah. Well, Drew said he doesn't have a job at the moment, which fucking sucks. Finding it harder and
Really?
harder, yeah, to take orders from anybody. Yeah, they moved you to the day shift because you kept blasting your music. So I don't know if I want to ask what happened, Drew. I'm sure it's because you slapped your dick in somebody's face. Uh,
Not Drew. No
yeah,
way.
yeah, no, he'd do it. Um, let's see. I don't know. I asked for a raise and they wouldn't give it to me, so I quit. Ah,
Oh.
that sucks,
All right.
man. I've had. It's weird. Oh, you know what? That kind of leads into a little one of the things I wanted to talk about a bit. Hold on one second, kitty. Uh, that's a bad kitty. So I work with a lot of younger people at my job, and I have never seen so many people call out from a job, from especially for even. I mean, granted, I mean I'm not going to say that my generation was necessarily hard workers or anything, um, but
There.
I've never seen anybody into the restaurants where somebody calls out so much and keeps their job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not just one or two people; it's a bunch of people that have called out. Like there's some guys who they just start a job and then they call out like 2 days later. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sick. Um, yeah, Drew was saying that happened a lot when I was working, where he was working too. Um, the In order to get people to come back to work, most places in Denver are starting anywhere like McDonald. There's McDonald's that'll start at 18, like at
What?
$18 an hour, and I don't maybe because these guys weren't in the workforce when it was only $6 an hour, and that was minimum wage, or
Yeah.
$7 or $8. That thing, the fact that any place is paying that much, that means they're willing to lose their ass to get people to come in there, right? And you would think there would be people grateful for that. You would think there would be older people that would be like, dude, I'll come and work for that. That's fine. If how much responsibility do I have? Not too much. Great, I'll do it. But that really hasn't been the case. As Drew was saying, that's what Taco Bell is starting for the night shift is 18 an hour. But I'm looking to get back into management, so at least I get to pick my job this time. Yeah, go for it, man. I find myself
Yeah.
always going towards management as well. I think it's because our mom is so bossy, Drew. I just feel like I need to tell people what to do and take charge of shit. But but it's really weird. Is it like we had an employee meeting this past week, and the boss was like, "By the way, a hangover is not a reason to call out for your shift. Suck it up. You work in the restaurant industry. I could tell you, I've cured many hangovers by fucking standing over a fryer. All right, on a Sunday. This is part of the job. You got to show up. You can't freaking call out. You know." But it's weird because you're in this one spot where um, it's not like we have a steady stream of people coming in wanting to apply. So you have to be very careful when you term somebody. But now, since they called out so much during one of the busiest months out of the year, we kind of discovered that we don't necessarily need all these guys. So they were like, "All right, this is what's going to happen. Here's the verbal warning. Here's the write up. After that, it's such and such." And these guys just walk right past those lines. Like they draw a line in the sand, they just walk right past it. So like I don't. Uh, I'm angry about it, but I'm wondering if I'm angry just because I'm not their age anymore, and I wish that I could make a better decision than they could. Maybe that might be
Yeah.
it. But for the most part, I'm
Well,
like,
it's also a different time now, man, because these millennials, man, they will drop a job like fucking that. They
mm-hmm,
don't give a fuck,
yeah,
and it's odd. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I get it. You some of these jobs will fuck you, man.
yeah,
They ain't down for the fucking. They're just not down for it, and I
yeah.
don't blame them. But in some respects, though, it's like the fact that you won't even do a job like that just to get by. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
just feel like I don't want this to be my life. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But like for you to go, I don't want to do this job just to pay my bills at the moment
Mm-hmm.
because I'm above this is a little weird.
It is kind of strange. I don't know.
Yeah.
Part of it, I was kind of riffing at work, and I'm like, I don't know what kind of like if you're just expecting somebody like if you're just gonna stay at home or freaking live off of people's couches and stuff. That's cool when you're a young teenager, but the older you get, the sadder it gets. Like, I don't know what type of gal that you're gonna think you're gonna pull, who's gonna be into you, if you can't take care of yourself. Oh, wait a second, yeah, I do. It's gonna be somebody exactly like your mom. So that's
Yeah.
basically who you're going to be dating and fucking for most of your life, is different versions of your mom. So if you don't mind screaming in the abyss every time, with shame and anger every time you have an orgasm, then by all means don't change. But you're at some point, you got to stop being a fucking kid and start
Yeah.
getting some shit done. So I don't know. It's pretty frustrating. But let's see. Collect that from a movie, The Ref, where he says, "Yeah, still, that shit's really cool. At 21 sucks a little bit when you're 52." Yeah. Yeah, talking about the movie, The Ref. It's, I don't know, man. I don't want to turn this whole thing to turning like, these kids today, but like, seriously, I don't. I wonder. I guess because I don't understand their mindset. You know, like, what do you
Yeah.
think is going to happen in the next couple of years? Like, if as long as everybody keeps their eyes closed and keeps believing in some make believe world that, so there's always going to be somebody looking out for you, then it'll happen. But I'm like, the phrase "I'm not your dad, I don't fucking care," keeps crossing my
Yeah.
lips more and more every day at work. So I don't know.
Like I work with a younger dude, and he was telling me a story about because our boss, I guess he sometimes he'll just go off on. He's one of these bosses that will just talk you to death. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not in a bad way, but like, you ask him a question, he's gonna give you like a detailed answer,
Right.
and he's gonna talk to you for like about 10 or 15 minutes straight.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? He's just one of those dudes, which I actually don't mind,
Right.
but that's just what he is. You know, and but he also like doesn't want personal shit dragged into work, which again, totally get, and I actually appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I do. He had a problem, I guess, one day where like his fucking tires were all fucked up or something, and he couldn't make it into work. So he called my boss, or he texted him. He goes, "Yeah, I can't make it in. I'm stuck in like precision tires or something. My tires are all fucked up."
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, "Okay, well, get an Uber or a Lyft and get down here. Get to come to work."
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, "Yeah, but like I got to do it with my car." And my boss texted him back and goes, "I don't want to hear your personal problems. Come to work."
Yeah.
And he took exception to that, but in my eyes, I'm like, "Yeah, don't bring your personal shit here. Right? We don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
We don't want to hear it. Like if you want to like small talk about some of your shit, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But like when like you literally can't do your job because of bullshit like that, I don't want to hear it."
There's also other ways you could have gone about it. You could have said, "Hey, I've got some car troubles and stuff. I think I can get it knocked out in a few hours. Is it okay if I take the day off or if I come in later?" Is that a possibility? And the boss says, "No, I need you here." I'm like, "Fair enough. Okay." And then
All right,
that's the end of it.
I'll get an Uber.
Yeah,
I'll get a Lyft or an Uber, and I'll come back and get the car later.
Yeah, exactly. So, top of that. Oh, by the way, thing to worry about. You really got to make sure your air pressure is really good, especially during the summertime. Because around towards the end of spring and the beginning of summer, you're going to see all these blown out tires all over the freeways and stuff. And chances are it's because when somebody lets the pressure go too low, rubber gets weak, boom, and you get blowouts.
Yeah.
So I know I had a couple of those, and every time I didn't check the tire pressure on into the cabs that I was leasing, I would end up getting a blowout. It friggin' sucks. So.
Yeah, because I had you remember the tire that I had a problem with?
Yeah.
Forever. Well, it was a weird tire where like I would have to put air in it like every third day. It was fucking weird. And I drove to Arizona 2 times with that same tire. You know, and then one day here I fucking was driving around doing job interviews, and all of a sudden that tire just started pissing air.
Oh wow.
So I took it to Discount Tire. They plug him for free.
Mm-hmm.
So there was two nails in my tire. He plugged them. But he did tell me, he goes, "Dude, you're gonna want to get new tires before the summertime because that tire ain't gonna make it once you start to get above 100." And I was like, "Oh, okay, fair enough." And that's the plan. I'm gonna get new tires probably like either this paycheck or the next one. But yeah, I got a crash course in that. He's like, "Yeah, you don't want that."
Yeah.
Because it will blow out.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a. Oh, Drew said he worked with a lot of kids when he was cooking, and right or wrong, he'd get on their ass whenever they pull some bullshit, like they got lazy or didn't want to come in, or the thought that the job was above, or they thought the job was beneath them. Uh, it kind of pissed him off, and he just let him know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm saving this one thing because I'm like, how do I motivate these young kids? I'm like, okay, hey guys, I need you to stop waiting for the Mexicans to do the dishes. That's basically it. I
Yeah.
look over and I see a couple of Latinos over here. We jump into the dish pit, and then I see a lot of young white kids hanging out here just fucking bullshitting and doing a half-ass job cleaning. So that
Yeah.
tells me, is it, are you waiting for somebody to clean up after you, or are you just waiting because you think you're above this job? Is that it? Because I've done every aspect of this job. So is the other
Yeah.
bosses and stuff like that. So if you don't want to do it, that means you don't want to be here. That's fine. This is, you can go someplace else. But um,
Yeah.
yeah, always tell them you're going to wear the 50-year-old man at work. You're serious because I can run circles around you, little boy. I always would tell these guys, and like, this is how I kind of motivate people as far as like working on the line, is that I'll work right next to them, and they will see that I am noticeably faster than whatever it is that they're doing. And either they start moving faster, or if they start moving out of the way, I'm like, come here, back. Keep doing this. And then I'm like, you have to be able to move faster than the 46-year-old fat guy. All right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That's what I'm asking. But like I said, it's weird kids. So either way, oh, was there something? Uh, okay. So I guess to put a pin or an end button onto the struggles or whatever for the younger guys I work with, is that I don't know how to explain to them that there's that magic line of 18 that they passed, and they don't think they realized it. Before they were just a kid who liked to party, and now they're slowly becoming a grown man who can't handle their own shit. You know what I mean? And there's a big difference. And it's like one of those two people care about and have sympathy for. The other one they have no sympathy or compassion for. Or like, guys, if you can't hold a job, if you can't do this, I mean, like, seriously, this is a pretty decent opportunity that you got, or at least to make some decent cash. That
Yeah.
still, even at that, even let's say if the McDonald's worker was getting 18 an hour, and if they're doing 40 hours a week, it would still be difficult to get a one bedroom apartment in Denver,
Oh yeah.
which is fucked. But
Yeah.
yeah, but still, I don't know. Like I said, I don't get it. Oh, so
It's a. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, man.
I saw this. I was getting on the freeway at Yale, right? And
Yeah.
there's now an encampment, a small encampment under the bridge, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how it is in Montana, Drew, but all throughout Denver, there's these little homeless encampments of people in tents and stuff, just kind of hanging out by the freeway. And some folks are like on the streets that I live. There's a bunch of RVs, and most of those guys, they kind of keep to themselves. They don't cause any problems and stuff. And I'm like, all right, whatever. It's not like they're sleeping on the street. But then there's a couple that basically just start hoarding a bunch of shit, and then it just turns into a big mountain of trash, and that's when it really becomes a problem. But either way, because I know we've both known friends and stuff, and who've lived on the street from time to time, and I always wondered, I'm like, is their whole day thinking about just how to get through the next day? Is that the whole thing that they're working on? Maybe so they're not thinking about like job or trying to get back on their feet or whatever. I don't want to just use the old line of like, oh, they just want to do drugs. It's not that. I mean, I'm trying to think about like with compassion. And then I thought, well, what the fuck am I doing? Am I just trying to like, I'm trying to keep my life the way it is right now, subconsciously, no matter what I want. But I'm basically keeping it. I just have a different baseline than a homeless person does. You know what I mean? My baseline is do
Yeah.
I have a car? Do I have a job? Do I have a place to live? Okay, all right, I'm good. But I'm sure somewhere there's like if I was sitting out on the side of the freeway and a millionaire drives by and he's like, look at that guy. All he's doing, that's all you want to do is make sure you have a place to live. You don't think about the future. How come you don't have $1 million? Why don't you freaking get off your ass? You know what I mean? So it just
Yeah.
kind of it hit me that like, oh, it's a weird different baseline as far as like how we live reality. But um, yeah, I don't know. That's what I was thinking. Like I have a different baseline than those kids at work, and I don't know how to kind of reconcile that. But
Yeah. I mean, it's. I don't know. Is it like I've actually met a lot of people out here. Weirdly enough, a lot of them that were like my life was in fucking tatters. I was homeless, doing all kinds of drugs, and then like they started realizing like I got to get my shit together, and they did. Like through a rehab or whatever. I mean, I've met at least 5 or 6 people that I've worked with that are like that. They were like, yeah, I had a problem. I went to jail. A couple people that I know like went to like prison and shit. And they came out the other side and they were like, yeah, I don't want to do that again. So they like cleaned their act up and got a job and they're making good money and they got their own place and yada, yada, yada. You know, so there's like success stories, but it's like these people, like, it's one of those things you can't force them to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and also the thing is, I've always said, you can't make rock bottom comfortable. Once you do that, people are going to want to stay there. Because, like, who wouldn't want to just fucking live in a tent and do drugs all day? You know what I mean? I wouldn't mind that.
It's honestly, like camping 24/7, basically.
Yeah. But, like, at some point, like, you got to, like, snap out of that and you got to think about, like, what you want to do. Like, you got to find your purpose.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want? You know, because that's not a purposeful life. That's just you being just a fucking blob on society of just doing nothing. And if you're bringing nothing to the table, really, then what the fuck are you doing? You know, and that's the problem. And like, that's why like a lot of these like homeless groups, these ones that help people. Remember when Denver had that proposition to like let people like put tents in like people's front yards and shit?
I don't remember that.
Like Prop 300 or some shit. Remember that one?
Yeah, Prop No Fucking Way. Was that it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Snowball's Chance in Hell.
It did not pass. It did fail miserably. But it's because like in a lot of these homeless groups are like, we don't want this.
Yeah.
We are, we don't want this because it's not going to help. It just people. I don't know what it is with like nowadays, but people confuse sympathy with like just letting people do whatever the fuck they want, and that doesn't help anybody. If you just allow them to be shitbags, they're going to be shitbags all the time.
It's weird. You know? It's like it's that baseline. Drew said, sure, sounds like fun until you realize you got to hustle up cash somehow to get drugs or rob somebody. It fucking sucks, trust me. Most people who are homeless who have a drug problem, they just don't know how to stop it. No one has given them any tools to be able to do something else. So I try to give them other solutions, but you're right. In the end, it's up to them. If they want to quit, they'll quit. If not, they won't. Yeah, that's true. And I like the idea is like if they just don't know how, which it's kind of weird. Like, it's like the Michael Jordan thing. Like, stop, just stop it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. That doesn't help, by the way.
Yeah, it doesn't help. That's that's the like Dr. Phil version of what you need to do is stop.
Yeah.
I have a doctorate in stopology. Yeah, that's.
I mean, that's just idiotic thinking. That's just like.
It's simplified.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's too simplified. And it's just stupid. It's they don't know what the fuck you're going through.
Yeah.
You know, they just don't. You know.
It's and that's true. And like I don't know what those guys are going through on the street either. So it's one of those things. Like I always said, compassion is easy with people you already care about. It's people that you don't care about who need it. That's the one that's very difficult to actually do.
But also, like tough love is also a form of sympathy too.
Yeah, I would think so too.
You know what I mean? Like if you're telling people like, "Yo, get your shit together," it's not you being mean. It's you giving a shit. If I didn't give a shit, I wouldn't say any of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I didn't give a shit, I'd just be like, all right, whatever, fuck you, do it, do whatever you want, ruin your life, ha ha ha. But like when you say something to somebody like that, and you're like, yo, get your shit together.
Yeah.
You know what the fuck you doing? Blah blah blah. It's people confuse that with being mean, and it's not. It's just you give a shit because you're just tired of looking at things. Like you're better.
Yeah. You got other shit to do.
I hate that whole like attitude of like you're better than this. Don't get me wrong. I hate when people do that shit. But at the same time, like it's one of those things where like maybe you are better than this, and you're wasting your potential on just being a drug addict. And maybe that's like the fucking snap out of it moment you can have when someone close to you goes, yo, what the fuck you doing? And then you go, fuck, I need to really clean my act up. We just got to have a lot of things out there that allow people to see that and go, I need help, and then get the help. That's what it has to be focused on.
Yeah.
Not the people that are just sitting there in the squalor and just being like, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah.
And then people going like, we need to help them. No, fuck them.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Fuck. If they don't give a fuck, then I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But like, if somebody's like, okay, I've been doing this for too long, I fucking hate it, I'm miserable, I don't like it, I fucking hate being this. Like, I want out, but I need help.
Yeah.
Yes, help that person, fund that shit, do all that stuff. But like, people who just don't want it, they're just gonna take advantage of it and all that stuff. Like, I don't know. It's just. I saw that one in Denver where people would just start feeling sad for these, like some of these people, and I'm like, don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't really have a lot of sympathy for people who don't want to help themselves. You know what I'm saying? I just don't. I was raised around addicts, and I got tired of their self-centeredness and the fucking like, just shoot through people that like are trying to help, but in reality, they're never trying to help themselves. They're just trying to just milk something out of them.
Yeah.
So
they're trying to get an extra day before they have to turn in their homework.
Yeah, but if somebody wants the help, fucking yes, throw all the help you can at them, because that's them trying to get out, and that's the only way you're gonna get out is when you realize you can't force the motherfucker to stop doing shit.
Yeah.
If they want to stop doing shit, yeah, help them all day long. But if you're like, I don't like what you're doing, and they're like, fuck you, I want to do what I want to do. All right, fucking do that then.
Yeah.
But if you're going to twist their arm, it ain't going to stick. Because what they're going to do is they're going to do what you told them to do for X amount of time. And then once you're not looking anymore, look, back on the drugs again, because it's not an organic thing.
Drew said he had so many sponsors who were like, you're such a fuck up, just fucking listen to me, and everything will be fine. But me, I have a problem with authority, so it doesn't work out too well. Yeah, that's a problem with, we go about it in different ways, Drew, but, like, that's a thing that definitely Mom, you, and I share, is that we've got pretty huge egos, and it's difficult to freaking, to be humble and actually deal with any of this stuff. That's why I was really glad. Like, it's funny, I don't think I really understood what Drew was going through until I actually admitted about the problems I had of my own. And then I understood more about addiction and stuff and the cycles and everything. And that led me to be a lot more compassionate to my brother, because that was a tough time. And I was really glad that he was compassionate back towards me, because I wasn't always that way growing up. Drew also says, but what really messes with your head is when you become a drug dealer and you got $3,000 in one pocket and a bunch of drugs in the other and no place to live, but somehow in your head, you just seems like you're doing okay. That actually led to that one bit that I have about my brother, where I'm like, yeah, he had 3 8-balls to sell on a Friday and had only $40 left on his pocket on a Sunday. I'm like, you literally could have worked at McDonald's this weekend and made more money than you did dealing drugs. You did the exact opposite of what everybody's been saying is like, why would I want to get a job, but I could just become a drug dealer? Why would I want to work at McDonald's? Well, Drew, you proved that it'd it'd be better to work at McDonald's. But, let's see. Yeah, but I wouldn't have been able to sleep with as many hoe bags. Yeah, that's true. So, you bought the ticket, he rode the ride. So you had something you wanted to talk about with a specific coworker that you wanted to tell whose name and address it was on the show. No.
Yes, his name is blah blah blah, and he lives at 110.
Please drive by and mock him. Yeah. No.
Yeah. No, he complains a lot. He complains a lot about, which I get. You're just small talk and stuff. I get to, but he's gotten in. I can sense, because he's like in his early 20s, right? And I can sense it in him that he's kind of a trusting person, but he also gets fucked up. He gets fucked over a lot, right? Especially by family, which sucks ass. I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is that he's not really doing anything to change it. He just complains about it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm starting to notice a trend that he's not letting good people in his life that he can trust. So he's just kind of like for lack of a better term, he's kind of a mark in a weird way. You know what I mean?
Well, like, it's a codependent person for sure.
Yeah. That's true, I guess. He keeps on telling me stories of how he got burned by like his mom or by this person or by that person, like with a lot of money. And I'm like, dude, like, and it's like multiple times. And I'm like, dude, at some point you've got to learn, not to do this shit. I'm not trying to blame the victim here. Trust me, I'm not, because I've been in these.
No, in this case, you absolutely should blame the victim. I say, let's get the fuck out. Let's get that shit out of the way. Like, I can imagine if this was a comic and we were outside of a bar and he was telling us a story, how fucking badly would we be fucking razzing this dude? I mean, like, all right, the first time I get that, but with the fifth or sixth time, dude, you love being robbed. All right,
Yeah.
you're the type of dude
Well,
that
I mean,
roofies himself inside of a gay bar. All right, you're the
yeah.
you walk down dark alleys with $100 bills hanging out of your pocket. You can't wait to be taken advantage of. Does
But no, it kind of reminded me of me 3 years ago, 4 years ago, if
right,
that, probably even shorter than that, when I would go on these rants about how women are shit
right,
because of the women that I've had in my life, you know. And
mm-hmm.
then like but then when it keeps on happening,
Yeah,
at some point the common denominator is me.
yeah, like
It's not that. It's not them. It's me. I'm making terrible decisions. I'm making terrible choices.
yeah,
I'm letting people like that in my life that I shouldn't let into my life. You know, when you date a stripper and she's the most trustworthy person you've ever dated, that's a problem. You know, and not saying she was not trustworthy at all. She totally was. It's
oh
not
yeah,
even her.
and she's fucking
But
hilarious. Shout out to Gloria Gray.
yeah, but like the fact that like an ex girlfriend that I could be like, I mean, yeah, it didn't work out, but you know, it's okay. You know, but she's a trustworthy person. I didn't have any issues with her, like,
Yeah,
trust wise. We just didn't work out.
yeah,
But like the other girlfriends I've had, I'm like, oh, this, that, and other thing. I'll talk all kinds of shit. But then I'll realize, like, over the past year or so, I've kind of realized, like, oh, I think I'm just making bad decisions and letting bad people in my life and letting them just run amok
right.
without, you know what I'm saying, without having any kind of boundaries and shit. You need boundaries.
It's a big part, yeah, right?
Yeah. You got to be able to say fucking no. And if they don't like you saying no, then get them the fuck out.
Yeah.
Go. You got to go. But like that's the problem with this dude is like I see a lot of my old self in him as far as that goes.
It's hard to see, right? Because
like,
you're like, fucking you, good.
Yeah, I just want to be like, dude, stop letting people get access to your life like this.
Yeah.
Stop.
Or stop telling me about it. How's that?
Yeah.
You could start with that.
I mean,
there's a guy that I work with who I think is just a compulsive liar.
Oh, fun.
And the best thing I can do so far is just I'm not interested in anything that he has to talk about. You know, like, hey, I'm going to school for this. I'm like, that's great. Hey, can you help me out with some of those dishes? Awesome. I'm like, hey, I'm supposed to get a freaking inheritance spray, next week. I'm like, okay, cool. Anyways, man, I need help with dough balls. Can you get on that? Because I'm like, I'm not entertaining this idea. I need you to keep moving. That's all I need, So, what is it telling me? If you're gonna lie to me, at least tell me lies that are worth listening to. Yeah, that's a good one too, yeah. Drew. The other one was I don't know.
Storyteller.
Well, yeah, it's just fucking weird. Like sometimes when you see that, like, because I've been that dude as well. The one that not the compulsive liar, but the guy who's always got a sob story or something like that. Poor me. Everybody's freaking. Nobody loves me and that type of thing. I get taken advantage of, and I'm like, there's other ways to become interesting, right? Like you could develop a skill or learn something, or maybe learn a different language, travel a little bit, instead of like many other things you can do to build a personality instead of just complaining and stuff and hoping somebody has some sympathy because you're so starved for attention, because I've been there, that's a bad place to be in. That's like, if you got cheated on one too many times and girls didn't just get smell that sadness off of you, they're just like, oh my God. Yeah. It smells.
Absolutely, right here.
Yeah, could somebody open a window? I smell sad dick in here. It smells like sad dick. Does it smell like sad dick to you? I smell sad dick. Yeah. Do you? Okay. Yeah, can you get the manager, please? Because it really smells like the saddest dick ever. Just weeping. Just like...
Dude.
Like its goldfish just died type of thing.
The last, except for the last year and a half, my entire Denver experience, in fact, actually, my entire post-divorce experience was basically that. Just, I'm a sad man with a dick.
Yeah.
That's all.
Oh, no, dude, like I said, I've been there. Drew, as a matter of fact, I've never seen him type this fast before. Not to put you on blast, Dave, but I remember when you were that person, and it sucks watching a little brother drag himself down somewhere and me not having the ability to pull you out of that hole. I'm so glad that you I'm really glad I did too, man. But yeah, like anytime if I make. By the way, guys, if you're like, man, Dave, you're being really hard. These guys have a lot of emotional issues. Yeah, guess what? Because I've been there. I know what it's like because I've been there. All right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've seen, imagine the craziest fucking most emotional comic you would have seen in the Denver comedy area, and I was fucking worse than that guy. Because I've yet to see anybody who's been more emotionally unstable than I was back in my 20s and 30s and possible early 40s
Yeah.
and 2 days ago. So,
and also if people are getting confused about like how this show is,
yeah,
we're not talking like we're better than you. We've never done any of this shit.
Right.
No. We are telling you this shit because we've done it. It clearly did not work out well.
Yeah.
And we've come up to the other side being like, yo, that ride sucked ass. Don't fucking do that. Don't go down that road.
Yeah.
I went down that road. It fucking stinks. There's potholes.
Yeah.
There's no there's no quick trips on it.
Yep. All you do is get the fucking the shitty Circle K's with a bunch of people hitting you up for cash and the slurping machine that's just there's nothing but syrup and a little bit of ice in it. It's just
and it takes you 30 minutes and fucking get a coffee and leave.
Yeah. It's like going on a really like a broken roller coaster that's really sad, a bunch of kids crying in it, and you got somebody punching you in the dick the entire time. That's what it's like.
And we're like, yo, don't do that. And you're like, oh, what do you think? You're better than me?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, I'm telling you this. Like, just we're basically like the fucking street signs being like, yo, don't, or like the fucking sharp curve ahead type of shit. Like,
it's just the sign is like
take
this
shit lightly. Yeah. I fucking told you, man.
Yeah.
I fucking told you. But also, I mean, some people, I guess, they've got to learn on their own. But
yeah, that's true.
But but you don't have to. It doesn't have to be that way. That's basically what we're saying.
Yeah.
Because it was. I mean, I wasted a lot of good years of my life just being a fucking sad schmuck, and it just looking back on it, I have a lot of regret about that because of like I could have done shit differently.
Yeah.
But like regret is also it's a teachable tool.
Yeah.
Like I don't live in the regret. But like I acknowledge it. I go, okay, I could have done that fucking better.
Right.
But I don't like wallow in it. I go, fuck, all right, next time don't do that.
Yeah.
You know? Or like oh, I've seen this before. I've done this before. Don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like you start seeing more red flags. They were always there. It's not like you're being paranoid. They're there. You see them. But before you would see them and you just run through them. Where now it's like, oh no, I should probably stop and read this before I go.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, did you know this ride punches you in the dick? Like, oh yeah, I don't think I want to go on this.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was a freaking good one. As we're around a third here, thought we'd talk. I had to talk a little about some of the movies that I saw, just because I don't know. I'd rather voice my opinion on here as opposed to posting on Facebook or Twitter. Or it's just I don't know. The more I look at social media and the way that people communicate, the less I want to do it. But at the same time, we're broadcasting this on Twitch. We're going to be streaming the audio or putting the audio up on Spreaker. Anywhere you could listen to your podcast from, like iHeartRadio, Apple, iTunes, all these other great places where you find podcasts. But I saw The Matrix this week, which the one on HBO Max. Drew, no matter what anybody tells you, it is a good movie. It's almost like the original Matrix and Fight Club had a baby, and then they made the baby watch the original Matrix trilogy. That's kind of what it's like. So there's a lot of really weird interest, like the veil of reality kind of drifts back and forth, like in the story, and then at some point breaks the fourth wall, and now you're questioning your own reality as you're watching this and stuff. It's really, really interesting. It's very clever. He already watched it and loved it. I thought it was great. I thought that the whole Neil Patrick Harris has a monologue at the end that is fucking really, really, really poignant. So I watched that. That was fucking good. And then I saw on Amazon, I didn't even know anything about this movie, but there's a movie about, it's just called The Ricardos, and it's about Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball. And oh my gosh, I don't know how many cartons of cigarettes that Nicole Kidman had to smoke in order to get her voice to sound like Lucille Ball's, but she did a fucking great job. And Harvey Bardem plays Desi Arnaz, and he does a fucking great job as well. It's pretty awesome. What was Drew said? It was kind of genius because the only thing that I probably would have believed was the fact that Neo would be questioning his own reality, but making him believe that he made a game was perfect. That was pretty awesome. Yeah, you Drew watched Ricardo's as well. We tend to watch the freaking same shit. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And this is an old movie, so I can give those two recommendations. And then there's sometimes a movie gets a lot of recognition, and I just don't want to watch it because everybody's talking about it. I was that way with Titanic, and the other one was Moneyball. And the reason why I didn't want to watch it is because I feel the more adoration that Jonah Hill gets, the more of a piece of shit he starts to become. And I don't know nothing about him. I'm sure he might be a nice guy. Just I start to get more and more annoyed with him in every movie that I see, because it's kind of like, you're just playing on other shit. But he was good in this movie. And that and Brad Pitt's character was really interesting because he wasn't a nice guy at all. He's very cold. The only time that he ever showed any type of affection was towards his daughter. Other than that, he's like super cold towards everybody, which I thought was interesting. But yeah, you're a big baseball guy, and so when I was watching this, I was like, I wish, this was already after you moved. And I'm like, I would have loved to talk to Jake about this. But what was you saw the movie? What'd you think about it?
Oh no, it makes sense because the thing is that what his character that he played was Bill James. Bill James is the general manager of the Mets. I'm sorry, of the not the Mets of the A's.
Mm-hmm.
He's the general manager of the A's, and there's a guy named Bill James that developed this fucking way of like analytics.
Yeah, was that Jonah Hill's character?
Yeah, well, no, that was actually the old assistant GM or the old GM of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh.
I can't remember the guy that he played, that Jonah Hill played, looks nothing like Jonah Hill.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but he basically Bill James is the guy that wrote this whole thing about like he's the guy that like uses like the term like war, like wins above replacement, which means like if like let's say like your war score is 7.5, that means you bring 7.5 more wins to your team than the average player would.
Right.
Shit like that, and like all kinds of other stuff, like other like metrics to judge baseball from, because baseball is a very measurable game. You can measure a lot of shit through baseball. And so what they did was basically like they were signing these guys through these fucking analytics, guys that you would never be like, oh, okay, this is a good fit. It was basically like through our analytics, we could tell we need a left-handed pitcher for this situation, yada yada yada. So they would sign like these guys that you would be like, what the fuck are you doing? This doesn't make any sense. Why the fuck would you sign him?
Yeah.
Or like, you know what I'm saying? And they had a shoestring budget. Like they did not have a lot of money, so they had to do something. And the reason why I think in the movie he's so cold and distant to everybody is because he's fighting a one-man war.
Yeah.
Like he's going against all the baseball thinking in the world. Like I'll give you a perfect example of that. Up until recently, up until like the mid 2000s, right? The Red Sox, what they would do is they would sign a guy. They would sign a guy that's right-handed, big power bat, right? Big fucking big hefty right-hander, because their right field fence is super short.
Yeah.
Like 310, but it's a green monster, but like it's like which is like 37 feet high, but it's only 310. So if you got a guy who's a bopper, bam, you're good to go. You just have that guy, he'll hit 40, 50 home runs for you. But here's the problem: that never works out. Because they're just thinking on a very like just simplistic plane. Where like they're like, oh well, if we get this guy, and what I'm saying, we sign this guy because of what if he he could do more. It's a weird, like, it's a lot of information that they process, but like a lot of guys don't like that. A lot of the old timers are like, they would judge guys on like how tall they were and how big they are and shit like that.
What's his girlfriend look like?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, but in reality, like, you don't know what this guy's going to be like. You don't know how this guy's going to handle a slider or a curveball, or like the pitcher's like, okay, like, at what point does he tire out, or what, or what situation? You know what I'm saying? They weren't doing any of that. So the fact that he was thinking, not to use this term because it's kind of cliche and lame, but he was thinking outside the box. But nobody was behind him. Nobody thought he was doing the right shit. and he was basically like trying to do something that's never been done before. Nobody had his back, and then in the beginning it started to fail because the A's were losing a fucking grip of games in the early beginning. I think of 2000 and it was 2000.
Right.
They lost a lot of games, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, with this like patchwork team that he basically paid for, because he was getting old veterans and shit like that. He managed to reel off 20 wins in a row, which I think is like a major league record.
Yeah.
With his team. And the problem with that whole thing is with the whole analytics thing is that it'll get you to the playoff, but you ain't gonna win.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of teams. I mean, nowadays, yes, you can because a lot of these big market teams are doing. They're doing analytics, But the problem with that is that like you start doing goofy shit. You start doing like, because that's when you start getting too much into that stuff, then then it gets bad. Then it's like, okay, why in the fuck? There's this new thing that people are trying to push called what the fuck's it called? A opening pitcher, not a starter. An opening pitcher. Opening pitcher basically means some guy comes out, he throws like an inning or two in the very beginning of the game, and then he's out. Which is fucking dumb as shit.
Yeah.
But some players, some teams do it, and like analytically wise, yeah, I guess it works. But like, it's just like, why would you do that? It doesn't make any, and it doesn't work because I've been trying to do it for like the past 4 or 5 years. I've seen some teams like really stick to it, or like they'll like just go out there and throw like have like a bullpen game where they'll just have bullpen players come out. I'm like, okay, but like, what happens if tomorrow your starter that you throw out there lays a fucking egg, and you got to rely on your fucking bullpen to throw 8 innings of fucking of a game? They're gassed now. You used them all.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like it's like it seems wasteful in a weird way. Like it doesn't have to be, but it is. But what he was trying to do was basically like reinvent the thinking of the game. And when you do shit like that, especially in baseball, a game that's been around for over 130, 40 fucking years, you're gonna piss the people off.
Yeah.
And his scouts hated it because like they don't know what to fucking look for now. They were just looking for like, oh, he's a strong left-hander. That's what we need. And like, letting people walk, because they're like great players, but like we're not gonna pay him that. It's like, well, why not? So
right. It's kind of
it's one of those things where like Brad Pitt that he did a great job with that.
Yeah, he really sounded like that was a pretty good with him. I was really surprised at Philip Seymour Hoffman's role because normally he steals every scene that he's in, and man, it just didn't really. He didn't shine through the way he normally does. It's kind of like he was thinking, you know what, I'm Philip Seymour Hoffman. I'm just gonna go out and pretend that I blindly baseball and just give me my money.
He's also he's also playing a manager, Art Howe.
Yeah.
Who was an old timer. He's an old timing guy. And so Billy Beane comes in with this whole new analytic thing.
Yeah.
And he's just like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm gonna manage my team because managers are very like prideful people. Like, this is my team. I put them on the field. I choose who goes where. Where general managers are like, yeah, but I pick your players, asshole.
Right.
Because there's that one part in the thing where he's like, I want to start this guy. Well, you can't now. I traded him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, it's like it's because they're using it now in other sports now too. They're using it like in hockey. They're using it in football. They're using it in basketball. And it's fine and everything, but like it takes kind of like the human element out of it in a weird way. You know what I mean? It just becomes too like.
It's only a matter of time before we get robots to start playing.
Yeah, probably. but it was a great movie. Like especially the end where that one fat kid hits the home run.
Yeah.
Remember that the very end?
I think so.
Where they're going over film.
Oh yeah.
And there's a like really fat dude, and like he doesn't normally hit that well, and he like crushed a home run, but he didn't know it.
Yeah.
So he ran all the way to first base. I think he slid in the first base.
Yeah.
And everyone's laughing because he hit like a 400-foot home run.
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, keep going. You're fine. But like, the point they're trying to make is that when you're trying to do something different, and it's not working out, but you know it will work out.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying really hard. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be fucking laughing at you.
Yeah.
That want you to not succeed. So when you do succeed, it might be shocking, where you're like, "Oh fuck, it worked."
Yeah, I
You
know,
know?
right?
Yeah. So you might not be prepared for it. So that's kind of what it's like. The whole thing he was talking about was like, when you try to like think like a maverick, you got to be okay with the fact that this isn't going to work this isn't going to work the first few times you try to do it. It's not going to. It may not work. It's all how you take the failures, But if you keep on going, if you know you're right and you know you're on the right path and you know that this will work out, like the faith angle. If you have faith in it,
Yeah.
eventually it will. If you know what you're doing, So
I thought the one of the biggest arcs in his character in that movie is when he said, I made one decision based upon money in my life, and I regretted it I've regretted it ever since. So
yeah,
I'm like, well, that makes a lot of sense. He's like, yeah, I'm not making any of these decisions based on money. I'm trying to get this one thing done. So, yeah, I thought it was great because he had all this potential and it just didn't work out for him as a player, but he had a good mind for the game. So they ended up, but yeah, I don't know. That's definitely, if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. Drew also says "Don't Look
great.
Up" is a must see. I know. I'm looking forward to seeing that, Drew.
What's that?
Don't Look Up. It's on Netflix. It's with DiCaprio and the girl from Hunger Games.
Oh, that's the Meteor movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that one. I finally got through watching Hawkeye, which there were some cool parts about it, and most of it I didn't care too much for. I will say this for Hollywood: if you're gonna have a character, be it a teenage girl, could we stop with the entitled teenage girl that doesn't want to listen to anybody till the very end, but doesn't? I don't know. It's like an old trope that I've seen it so many times in so many movies, and I'm like, teenage girls have more depth than this, right? You can have them be completely different, like other characters as well, but instead of just the spoiled brat, where like her main question throughout the whole story is, will she get to do whatever she wants? That's basically what the thing was. I know I sound like a freaking MRA right now, but that was the only gripe I had. Nothing against the girl who played Kate Bishop, or nothing against her performance. It was the writing. I'm like, yeah, it just seems like you have these well-crafted adults, and then like all the kids in the show have like basically one-dimensional characters. That's what it seemed like. So,
yeah, it's a lot like how back in the back in the '90s and early 2000s, all the black sitcoms they seem like dog shit.
yeah.
You know how like they just seem very fucking weird and stupid.
Mm.
Like too like trying. It was because it was all white folks writing for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you know what I'm saying? Like this is their. And then like when a lot of these black actors got out and did their own thing, you're like, oh no, this is actually they're good. This is actually good.
Yeah.
It's because it's written by people that not like a bunch of fucking white dudes from Harvard.
Right.
Like, oh, I know what's funny is,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A good example of that is fucking Luke Cage. If you haven't seen the first season of that, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's good for recommendation and stuff. By the time you guys hear this, the show that I'm doing tomorrow would have already been over, so I won't plug any of that. The Sunday night mic is going to get pushed back, I think, either this Sunday or next Sunday, possibly. But we're going to be back, and we'll be doing our 15-minute sets out there at X Saloon, and we'll keep working on all that shit. That's the only thing I got to say. You got anything to push or anything you want to end on, Jake?
No, I'm just do your best. I don't know. Best thing I can tell people, like, just try.
No, you know what?
Whatever the fuck you know.
If I can tag onto that, I would say if you're going to do your best, then do your best. I've had young kids say, "Hey, I'm trying," like at the restaurant that I work at. And I'm like, man, these guys have all worked longer hours than we have. They want to spend some time with their family. They didn't come out here to watch you try. Like, fucking, we need to get it done. So, but either way, that's my fucking hard ass little thing that I would throw on there. But I guess that's it for this week's show. I want to say thanks to Drew Ways. Always great having you on here, Drew. And
oh yeah, Drew.
Obviously, Jake, I'm so glad that we've been able to do this week after week and stuff. I know Sometimes I don't realize how much I need it till after the show's done. I'm like, oh, I really needed that. So thanks for continuing to do this with us. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys, signing off for Mansplaining. I'm Dave.
I'm Jake.
Stay toxic, everybody.
Yeah.